I'm Prash. I'm CEO of Rezonence, and we are an ad tech company. And amongst one of the things that we really do, what's important to us is helping publishers monetize their content. I'm going to talk about that broadly in this presentation, but I'm not going to go down the usual route of free versus paywall debate. That will come up at some stage, but I'm going to take a very different approach to what it means to monetize content. I'm going to do something very unnatural for me, which is when I stand up in front of people, and that is not pitch. As I found, I'm always pitching, and I'm going to not pitch. Okay, well, once upon a time, publishing was a profitable, very profitable business. Right? There are a lot of publishers out there with huge teams printing lots of different types of newspapers, magazines, and they were making a lot of money. But then the world changed. So digital came along, and all of a sudden now one of the biggest concerns for publishers is sort of monetizing. They're struggling to monetize, quite frankly, a lot of them. So the question is, what's changed? Now, before I tell you what I think has changed, I don't know if I think I'll open it to the audience. Anyone have a view as to what fundamentally changed? Why are publishers struggling to monetize their content? Anyone have a view?
The size of the ad.
Sorry?
The size of the ad.
The size of the ad. Okay, it's not big enough. You need bigger ads. Anything else? Google. Well, but Google aren't a publisher, so why is it?
Because you can find content anywhere.
You can find content anywhere, sure. Okay, anything else? Content's been devalued. Jeff, you're a publisher. Have you?
Increased supply.
No, sorry?
Too much supply.
Too much supply? Yeah, well, good one. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll tell you what I think has happened. All broadly true. But one of the biggest changes that has happened is the psychology of how people view content and value content. That's changed quite significantly with, effectively, the digital age. So I'll give you a few examples to sort of help you understand what I mean. So in the past, you could buy a newspaper and you got the day's news. There was value to buying the day's news. It was all packaged up. You could buy it and go, well, you knew you had the day's news. But now, you've got the stream, as they're calling it now. It's continuous. You've got information coming from Twitter, from Facebook, of breaking news websites. There is no such thing anymore as the day's news. In fact, apparently, if you speak to a teenager today and talk about packaging something up and sort of saying, would you be interested in the day's news or this news? They'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's just all continuous. So that's one big change. Another change is about who's doing the packaging, if you will. So in the past, you would sort of, to some extent, associate yourself with the paper you read. Maybe you're a Guardian reader or the Times reader, or you read The Sun. But now, that's changed. It's basically self-curated. You've got Google News, you've got Twitter, you've got Facebook, you've got Flipboard. You, as an audience member, get to choose the content you want, when you want it, how you want it. You don't need a publisher to tell you, this is a content we believe is important and you should read. Right? So that's a big difference. So what does it mean, actually, then? As a publisher, it means you're selling your content into a marketplace, a very competitive marketplace, and one where the audience can basically go around and cherry pick what they want and where they want it and when they want it. And the content you have is not necessarily that unique. If what you're sort of dishing out as a publisher is available elsewhere. You might have something that's unique, but that's more rare than not having something that's unique. So if you're talking about a marketplace now, you've got to talk about economics of supply and demand, and the demand curve, and price and quantity. Now, as a publisher, if you will, the demand curve is the one you're focused on. Basically, it says if your price is high, you're going to sell less. If your price is low, you're going to sell more. Right? Standard economics. So here we go. We have an example of someone effectively working, selling commodities, if you will, in a sort of in an economics point of view. They've got different prices here for different objects. Now, the price of each item there, if you were to actually really sort of think, well, I don't know if this particular seller went through that effort, but really would be set by the intersection of supply and demand and all that. If that seller were to set the price too high for a particular vegetable, he wouldn't sell enough. If he set it too low, yes, he would sell a lot, but potentially at a loss. So, which is not again, not going to make them a profit. So what the publishers need to understand, well, we believe, is that they sell a variety of content, and it's not all of equal value. It has different levels of value. So some content you put out there is very valuable, some not so valuable. And it actually changes depending on who is viewing that content. So it's complicated, but that's the reality. So here we go, free versus paywall. Now, I'll pause here and say, well, given what I've just said and the way I'm, let's say, phrasing the debate, what do you feel is the better model, free or paywall? Not the usual arguments, but let's say just assuming, basing yourself on the arguments of this. Anyone have any opinions? Which works better from, if you were to sort of say, based on supply and demand and value of content? Yeah, but well, no. Regardless of here, effectively, yes, that is two business models, you could say. But if I were to say, well, having said that you're operating in a marketplace, how would you go about making money, effectively? Would you, if you had those two options, would you think it's better to have a free model, or is it better to have a paywall? Sorry? Have a bit of both, yeah? Any other views? No? No one wants to come up with a view and say, come down hard on one side or the other? Go for free. Anyone else? Anyone want to go paywall? No? Sorry?
It depends how sexy your content is.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, to some extent.
And it depends who your audience is. The FT.
Well, absolutely. It depends on how valuable your content is and what the... Absolutely. Well, okay, next slide. I have a slightly different view here. It's like both are wrong, right? Because both set a single price. What I've just said in my whole thing is that every bit of content you put out there isn't worth the same. Even if it's to the same audience member, it's worth different amounts. And you've got to set a different price, because every bit of, effectively, all the different types of content you put out from article to article, effectively, is worth different amounts. And if you just put down one price, it would be like that vegetable seller saying just one price for everything I sell. Now, some shops do operate that, but generally it doesn't work, because effectively, if the price is right for one vegetable, it's almost certainly wrong for every other vegetable. And that's the problem with this one price model, which effectively publishers have sort of adopted by going either free or paywall. And if there's one thing that happens, if you're operating in a market, a highly competitive market where effectively, let's say you've got a commodity, if you have the wrong pricing strategy, you're going to die. I mean, if you're... in publishing, it's a bit more complicated, but basically, to some extent, that's why a lot of publishers are struggling, because they've got the wrong pricing model. So what we suggest is actually you've got to cater for demand across the spectrum, and you've got to cater for the fact that you've actually got different bits, have different values, different bits of content you're putting out. So it's not about going free wall or going paywall. Sorry, not free wall, free or paywall. Free wall is our product, by the way. I'll go on to that. It's going free or... So you actually want to run as many of these as possible, because you don't want, effectively, well, there's a, as I sort of showed in the supply-demand curve, there's a curve, and you actually want to be able to hit all those points on the curve. That's how markets operate. I mean, I'm from a banking background, and I know a lot about how to sort of monetize in various sort of situations. I also know a lot about how to lose money, but I also know how to make money. And so our suggested way is actually what you want is you want a subscription on your site. You want sort of maybe, let's say, a gold, silver, and bronze sort of levels of subscription for your really premium content which took, say, a large team, months to put together, or it's a special investigative report, or maybe they're just exclusive photos for a celebrity wedding. You will almost certainly be creating content which is very generic, which just about every other site out there is going to have. Give that away for free because you want to attract people to your site. In between, you've got micropayments, so you could have actual real cash payments or maybe bitcoins, and you can have the engagement-based payment model. So some sites now say tweet an article to get extra free articles. We have a product which is called Freewall, which effectively allows you people to pay with engagement. We believe it's the future, and I'll stop there one go. That's me stopping myself pitching. But so, I mean, the key thing here is it's all about having a range of payment options. So when you go into a supermarket, you can pay in different ways, and you can pay different amounts for different objects. More content right now is being consumed by more people than ever before. And if you can get that right, get that monetization ability right, publishers are sitting on a ton of gold, really. That's our view. So much so that, I left a career in banking and effectively started up an ad tech company because I felt that if you could help publishers unleash that potential, we'd get very rich in the process too. But that's it. That's what we're here to try and do, help publishers make a lot of money. Thank you.